Hey guys, it's Skyon here with a new video, and it is yet another attribute stacker. Now in case you're a returning viewer or you happen to stumble upon my previous video, you will know that I was playing an Inquisitor attribute stacker and I was having a blast with the build. So as mentioned in my previous video, like there were some alternative gears that I could have tried to hit the 1000 of each attribute. So I was just in the process of getting those items. So those items being Astral Mantis for all attributes, Sarkval's Nest for the max roll 75 to all attributes, Fractal Thought was one of them, and Shaper's Touch was one of them. So yeah, I just wanted to grab those items and try on different combinations of gear to see what would push my attributes the highest. And then the last item that I improved was my Widow Hail Bow. My previous one was a 225% roll. This is the max 250 roll, so that was an improvement. But then what ended up happening here is the Crucible tree I ended up with had this totem node. Now this 400% is the second highest tier, the highest tier being 600%, and I'm aware of that. But then I thought to myself, okay, if everybody's playing the Explode Totem build this league and saying the damage is so much, like it's skyrocketing, it's just deleting bosses and deleting pixels straight out of the game, like 400% can't be too bad, right? So yeah, so here what we have is a level 95 Ascendant. And the idea that I had was try to incorporate the attribute stacking concept to the Explode Totem build. And even though level 95, let me just say right off the bat, like this is not nowhere close to where I want the build to be. First of all, like I want 1000. I still want the 1000 attribute of all three, and like because of the lack of the attributes, like for example, my spell suppression is supposed, my plant, whatever I plant is 100% spell suppression. 84 is close, but it's not 100. And also I am doing a physical to elemental conversion Explode Totem, so I want 100% conversion. I only have 80 so far, so still a lot more tweaking to go. But even though level 95, I'm gonna call this like the early stages, or at least it's my first attempt. Like I was playing with the passive tree and then the gear on my POB, and it was taking too long, and because to build an attribute stacker, like you really need to tweak. There's no right or wrong way, and I was just spending too much time. I wanted to go ahead and start playing the build and enjoying it and see how it goes, rather than just sitting there for extra like hours and hours. So yeah, I went ahead, and this is what I ended up with at time of this video. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, we'll talk about all those details in the after a map showcase. So I'm going to quickly do a map. Actually, for this one, I'm gonna do a Guardian map. Let's do the Shaper Guardian, and then we'll look at the build more in detail. Okay, so as you're watching this map showcase, like just keep in mind, in case you think, oh, it's not dealing that much damage or anything like that, like personally I would disagree with you, but okay, sorry. And personally, I would disagree with you. I feel the damage is just fine, even. But what you have to keep in mind is I'm using the 400% rather than the highest tier 600%. So, like 400 is 66% of 600, right? So we're pretty much gimping ourselves like 1/3 of the potential, like the damage potential. That the build can have. So if you feel like for some reason feel like the damage is not there, yeah, just keep that in mind. That's what's happening. Now as far as the trap playstyle goes, so I know that a lot of people don't like trap build so much because of the delay damage. Like you kind of throw the trap and then the enemies gotta like step on it, and then and then the damage kicks in, so people tend to not like it. I think maybe this league is an exception because Explode Totem is so strong that everybody is okay. No, I don't think. Yeah, I did not bring any base for the Crucible, but yeah. Anyways, for the Crucible, you just set the traps. Like let's say you're going to 100%, you set the traps, and then at like 95, and then move out, and then they all die. That's what it looks like. Yeah, so going back to the trap build, like I think more people are playing just because how good the Explode Totem is. But for my case, it's actually just working out fine, because turns out, and I never realized this, for the 5 or 6 years that I played PoE, I have never tried a trap build. So this is the very first time that I'm playing a trap build. And when something is new, like it's considered a new build, new playstyle for me. So when something is new, at the minimum, okay, is this interesting? I'm gonna take it just in case. Yeah, when something is new, like you're guaranteed to have fun, even if whether it's good or bad, like just for the fact that it's new, right? So I'm having a blast with this build, like, and yeah, in that sense, it's just working out nicely for me. Now, as I mentioned, this build is the Phys to Elemental conversion version, the most popular variant, and I'm pretty sure you would know this since the build is so widely known, is that it's the poison variant by with using a pathfinder is probably the best, or is the most played, because when the build has so much damage, the next thing people look for is, oh cool, okay, so the next thing people look for is the clear speed, and then the pathfinder giving the poison prolif, obviously, you know, it helps, is really strong in the clear department, so that's what people like. But anyways, that's not what I'm going for, and therefore that's not what I'm gonna talk about in this build. As well as, since the build is so widely known, I probably don't need to explain to you like how the Explode Totem mechanic works with the trap and the max multiple totem or anything like that. What we're gonna go over in this video is like damage scaling for elemental conversion, and you know, like how the attribute stacker kind of fits in with the the Explode Totem. So right off the bat, the explosion from the totem death, like the damage scaling option is very limited. You can think of it as having a physical and AoE tag without it being an attack or a spell or anything like that. So if you have, first of all, like a support gem, let's say added fire support, like gain the supported skills, gain like physical damage or as extra fire, or fire damage as like X% of physical, anything like that, none of that's gonna work. Anything that's like supported skills, whatever, is not going to work. Anything like increased physical damage with attacks, or increased like spell physical damage, none of that is going to work. You're looking for something more generic and something more global that has a physical damage or area damage. And in the case that you're doing elemental conversion, physical as extra ally damage is gonna work, and anything like generic elemental damage, increased elemental damage, that's all going to work. So that's what you're looking for, right? So what a lot of people doing with the elemental conversion is they will go Saboteur, which is the trap ascendancy. Some of them go like elementalist. I've seen people go like chieftain with the physical fire, all that stuff, and they like to go with the spiritual aid, and increase in reductions to minion damage also affect you. And so what this does is, if you all your minimum minion damage kind of turns into generic increased damage, and using a rare bow, like they can give themselves a head start with, I don't know if it's an essence craft or a bench craft, but you get like 100-something% increased minion damage. So that's how they started off, and then they grab like area damage, and then they grab like some like fizz as fire, like elemental damage, whatever they can find. And that's how they go about it. But for my case, like coming from an attribute stacker, I know that it has very good generic damage. And again, I did not do any calculations with my specific numbers here, so feel free to pause, and then like if you're interested, like do the calculations yourself. But I'm gonna talk as if like I have achieved my goal, so that's being like, you know, 100% spell suppression, like in 1000 of all the attributes. So I'm just gonna talk in that context, right? So coming from an attribute stacker, we know that the last mod here on the belt 1% increased damage per 5 of your lowest attributes, and then the same mod exists as an attribute mastery, so combine the two is 2% increased damage per 5 of your lowest attribute. So yeah, that's going to be at 1000 all attributes, giving us 2% per lowest is 400% increased damage right off the bat, and that is just a generic damage. On top of that, if we're converting 100% fist to elemental, fractal thought helmet, the second last line there, 1% increased elemental damage per 10 dexterity, again at 1000 dex, that's another 100. So the helmet, the belt, and then the attribute mastery with the 1000 attributes all, it's going to give us 500% increased damage to start off, right? And then on top of that, like we can get the generic, like the Physis LA and then all that other stuff. Another thing that caught my attention with the like this kind of attribute stacker setup is by default, like strength gives life, and then Shaper's Touch makes it dexterity gives life, and then intelligence gives life from the fractal thought. So now we have all three attributes also contributing to life. So even though I have like just passing through all these travel nodes most of the time, and very minimal, I would say, life nodes along the way, I'm still able to comfortably get over 5k life, and that was a positive as well. But obviously there are other bonuses that come with all the attributes. Like the default bonuses are nice, like even energy shield with the outreach battery is needed here, and then like the glove giving like evasion rating, whatever. Like yeah, there's so many. I just saw that this build will work with the attribute stacker, so and I think it's proving to be true. Okay, good. So now I'm gonna talk about why Cyan Ascendant. People call this the Master of None or Jack of all trades, Master of None. It's a niche character, whatever. But in a character like this, first of all, the small notes here, like giving total 40 to some kind of attribute, is very beneficial in an attribute stacking setup. And then the next thing is I'm kind of looking at the tree, and when I was planning, I'm looking at like the keystones I want. Like I want the spell suppression, I want the like a good armor, stun immunity, and for this case, because the mana cost for this trap is crazy, like I want Eldritch Battery. I know that there's the int, the dex, and then the strength here, which in 3 different directions. I'm looking at the like the notables, let's say like physical damage as extra. And then I know that there's a cold one here, and then I saw that there's a fire here, and then there's the lightning here, but it's with a wand only, so it's not gonna work. There's the totem life, and then there's the totem life, and I can already tell, or you can see that it's going to be an absolutely big tree. Like that's gonna stretch in all directions. So Cyan, in that sense, with the extra passive points, is going to be a clear winner here, and yeah, that's why I chose with Cyan. And in fact, like I realized after like I built it and then I got pretty much everything I wanted, like these small nodes, going back to these small nodes, 40 attribute is huge for our build. And I'm thinking, like, for example, I took these nodes here. Life is good, but then mostly for the reduced cost of skill while I was still in the axe and running on mana. Now, like if I could still spam my traps without those nodes, then I'm even thinking to like take spec out of these like 1 passive points and then grabbing like 40 attribute to help achieve like a 1000. I'm not sure, like that's something for me to tweak around and see if it's beneficial, right? And also the path of the ranger, path of anything is not, I would say, useless for my case, because in an attribute stacker I would never give up the split personality. Like these are just so good for the build. And it does say like it gives you those attributes if like based on your class's starting location, and in this case Cyan is your class's starting location. So if you like do Path of the Ranger and then build your tree from down here and go around, that split personality is not going to work, so it's kind of useless. So if I could like sacrifice like 3 passive points, like take these 5, 1 2 3 4 5 6 off, and then like then I still able to grab everything I want, then yeah, I would definitely consider going to those attribute, right? Okay, good. So that's why Cyan and tree. And again, going back to conversion, like I only have 40 and 40 here. Now I am using this like Watcher's Eye, which I got for another build. Obviously, if this was because I am running Hatred, like if this was physical damage converted to cold while affected by Hatred, like that's just going to give me the 100%. I just didn't like invest into that Watcher's Eye yet, but that's how you would do the 100% conversion, right? Okay, and another thing I like about this tree is again, there's 5 aura nodes found on the passive tree, 1, 2, and then 3, 4, and 5. No, sorry, up here 5, right? So you can see here, like the tree that I planned happens to pass around or pass through like 3 of those 5, and then the what I consider as the BIS armor for this case also happens to have the, well, mine is the lowest row, but mana reservation efficiency of skill mods there. So like my plant tree with this armor without any like helm enchant for mana reserve efficiency or like enlightened anywhere, I am able to run Herald of Purity, Herald of Ash, and Purity of Elements and Determination. So 2 50% auras and 2 25% heralds without like helm enchant and the enlightened. And you can also see like one node prior to this, Herald of Purity, very good for this build. And so the buff effect is good, but the 50% increase reservation. So even with this, like I can fit in all these 4 auras and heralds, which is everything I need. And for now, I am using Hatred as my divine blessing setup. Yeah, so that's pretty good. But again, for an attribute stacker, I would like to mention that there is no right or wrong way to build it. I would say like it's one of those builds. If there's like 100 people playing attribute stacker, I expect them to all look different because not everybody can have the same gear with the exact same roles. It's just you're building it, like you're trying to build up the numbers here while keeping them close. And my case is very bad. There's like 240 gap or whatever right now. But the bottom line is, like, you build based on what you're planning to use, and like what kind of roles that you have or what kind of split personality you plan to use, right? So like I could have easily like gone out here, let's say, and then like I could grab, that means I'll get the leadership and then go up here and then go backwards the way I came. And then if I just say anoint like charisma, let's say, then that's considered to having like all 5 aura like nodes from the tree, and then maybe that would help me like put Hatred as a permanent aura along with these 4, and then that means I could put Wrath in there, even though it does not do anything for my build. I think I have a Wrath. Yeah, that means I could put Wrath in Divine Blessing. Doesn't give me any damage, but like because of this Watcher's Eye, it's gonna give me like 100% conversion. I don't know. Like there's so many options that I need to do. Again, I'm calling this an early stage. Like I just wanted to start playing it, have something put together and to show you guys. And there will be a lot of tweaking that I'm gonna need to do from this point on. So yeah, all those possible tweaks, changes, whatever experiments going to come in a future video. So if you enjoy the contents of this video, feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. And other than that, I would like to thank you very much for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one.